There are 5 things that every business needs. 5 things, and I wanted to go very high level on things that you need to make sure you're doing well in your business and now. Number 1, and they're in order of importance, well, except for the last one. The very first one is implementation. And this is kind of obvious, but have you ever known somebody that talks a lot about good ideas and then never really gets them off the ground? I think we all have. You have most of the inspectors that come to, not this conference, I think this conference is very interesting because we have our implementation forms. That's what we call them. They're order forms, but they're implementation forms. Basically, you guys give us a lot of work to do when we get back. And we take a lot of that work on. But at a lot of conferences that I go to, including ones in Vegas where you have a motivational guy, which is anything but me, he'll get up on the stage and everybody will be really excited. And then whatever the plan was, it falls apart between the point that they leave the conference and the time they get home. So when I look at implementation for home inspectors, I think we do a pretty good job of it, but we'll see. Proprietary. Any business has to have something proprietary. Sometimes that proprietary might be good in some areas. Sometimes relying on something like a system might be the right move to do. In other businesses, and I've talked to people in this room about particularly the termite business, there's nothing particularly proprietary about going into the termite and pest control business and buying Centricon systems and putting them in the ground. But the huge benefit to doing it is that that's like a liquid asset. You can sell a Centricon baiting system contract at a multiple, and there's always a buyer. So sometimes proprietary isn't great. Not all of these things are required in every type of business, but at least having something proprietary makes it so it's not about you, particularly in home inspection. Then there's barriers to entry. And I was corrected by an economist recently, and I also learned that economists are very annoying. I was at this party and I said, one of the things I look for in any business I go into is a barrier to entry. If anybody can do it, well, then the price is going to go lower. There's going to be downward pressure on it. And as I explain barrier to entry, he said, that's not a barrier to entry. A barrier to entry is only when a government entity says that there can only be one utility provider. Okay, I guess I used the wrong word. What's your word? High transaction cost. So that's what, for the guys that went to college, they'll know that. I didn't. And the last one. Well, second to last. Size. Many of you have been on this journey with us for several years. You've gotten to the point where you have 10, 15, 20 inspectors. You have money in the bank. You have an arsenal of cash to go out and do stuff. And we're going to talk about some of the stuff you can do with it. Not with me, don't worry, you don't have to spend the money today. But so far as acquisitions go, different options in the market that can crush the little guy. Now, the little guy might be a nice guy, but he'll be really nice still when he comes to work for you. And the last one is trust. Obviously, we need to establish that trust in anything we do.